Hi guys, welcome to Strength Reversed. Thank you for joining me. My name is Amy, if we don't know each other. Today is the quarter 2 catch-up for 2020. Now, I did a quarter 1 catch-up late, but after this one I will be back on track. And this is where some people do a monthly roundup or a monthly, review, and I just don't feel like I could do this every month because I don't really have enough to say. Especially this quarter. It's been a little bit strange in the second quarter of 2020. The first quarter of 2020, it was very active. I had lots of inspiration, and this quarter has been much more of a yin, receptive, kind of passive experience. So I feel like not stuck, but I feel that something's percolating. I'm almost in stasis. And it's only this month, I pulled a card for this month of July, and I think things are shifting, which is good, but also a little bit scary because I think what's about to happen, right? Change, I don't like that. But I will let you know at the end of the video what my 3 cards were for April, May, and June. I do pick a card every month at the beginning of the month, and that serves as my, theme for the month. And I write it down in my spiritual planner, my tarot planner. There's the card of the month, and then my daily draws. And then I have my to-do list for each day, and I put some info about how that daily card related to what actually happened that day. So I will start with tarot. I have been called this month, mostly in June, to reset my decks. I reset my decks as needed. By reset, I mean put the cards back in order. And for some reason, they have all been feeling pretty fuzzy. There's something is shifting, definitely. And even decks that I don't use very often, I find myself resetting. So that's been pretty interesting. I've worked a lot this quarter with the Santa Muerte tarot, which I got for Christmas in 2019. And I really like it. It is a very Scorpio deck, and I am a very Scorpio gal. Here's the back. And then you can see the dramatic images and bright, bold colors, which is what I love. This deck has definitely really been working for me. So it wasn't a deck that I chose. It was a surprise deck that I didn't know I was getting. So I'm pleasantly surprised. Let's see. I completed 2 tarot challenges on my Instagram, so make sure you check that out. And they were both by Purefield Healing. That is Josephine's Instagram. And on the post that I do for this video, I will definitely mention her, because even if you don't have to, you can do the challenges anytime that you are looking for something to do. And the first challenge in May was a self-compassion tarot challenge, which is definitely a lifelong, not issue, but something I've needed to work on my whole life, because I've always been one of those people who's very hard on myself. I expect a lot of myself. I don't know that I'm a perfectionist, but I definitely sometimes procrastinate if I feel like things aren't going to go exactly the way I have planned. So that was very helpful. Her challenges I like because they are meaningful prompts, and they offer quite a bit of insight for me. I have a little journal, like a mini journal, that I use just for the challenges that I do. And I'm going to have to go back and reread the whole challenge in order, and read all of my entries, because I think it would be very helpful. The challenge that I did in June was especially insightful, and it was a #MyHigherSelfTarot, and it all the prompts were about how your higher self communicates with you and what messages it has for you. And in June, one of the topics that came up for me a lot was personal authority. and really trusting my own personal authority and not needing to have everyone else on board. So that's been interesting. Let's see. I didn't make any spreads. That was one of my goals. I made one spread, and that was the 3 circles non-spread. I'll put, you know, a card or something here. And that is where you throw any number of cards, and I worked my way from the outside in. So I threw some cards just for different feelings or issues or tensions that were going on, and I worked my way in to see what the big symbolic issue was or what the underlying cause was. But Maria from Lady Knight of Avalon suggested that you can also start from the inner card and see how that symbolically, well, how that symbolic issue plays out in your life, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I might redo that spread in the 3rd quarter to go outside to see why I am the way I am. How many years do you have? Let's see. I started my chakra series I did the root chakra. So I've been rereading a lot about chakras. I've studied them a little bit, and I decided I wanted to connect them more with tarot. I don't know if that's how it's working out, but I've done a lot with yoga and chakras lately, and yeah, I'm using tarot to give me a little bit more insight into each of those energy centers. So stay tuned for more of these chakra videos. And something exciting, I think I told you guys a while ago that my dad is making me a tarot app to track my cards of the day, because I don't want to have to do that thing at the end of the year where I go back and manually count every card that came up. So he's making me an app where I can just enter it, and it has information about each card, and then at the end of the month or end of the year, it will tell me what card I picked the most or what suit I picked the most and all of that. So anyway, I have to go back and enter basically the first 6 months of cards, but because he just updated it. My dad's like a techno geek. He always has been. He'll be like, oh, you need a computer here. Here's some parts. And I made it a computer out of it. So that's just, he likes to do stuff like that. And we probably will put it on the Play Store when we've worked out any glitches. So I will let you know about that. However, if you have an iPhone, which I know a lot of people do, I'm an Android gal, and so that's what the app is for. Hopefully someone else has an Android out there. Is it just me? I can't do the one button thing. One button, how can you live like that? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. Books. So Jason sent me Tarot for Self-Care, and I have read most of the book. There are some of the, there is a glossary of cards, so there's an entry for each card, but I have been working a lot with self-care over the last couple of months, and this book was a perfect addition to that. I'm going to do a book review video, especially about this book. So I've read almost all of it, not every card meaning, but I really like how this book, it's not just about the spiritual stuff. It's about body, mind, spirit, and self-care ideas for every card based in those 3 areas. So I'm really liking it. I've also, in an Amazon frenzy, ordered this book, which is called The Ultimate Guide to Chakras. Now, I did not read the subtitle that it's a beginner's guide. It's not that I'm super advanced, it's just that there's more breadth than depth of this book. So it covers a lot of different elements that you can use to balance each chakra. It goes over not just tarot, but runes and herbs and essential oils and stones and deities and every kind of thing that is related to that chakra. So I like that, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it's good for what it is. It talks about archetypes and it's pretty comprehensive. So I've been going deeper into my studies with that book. And this is a book that I really enjoyed. It's called Running with the Mind of Meditation by Sakyong Mipam, and he is a Buddhist monk who has been meditating really all of his life. And he took up running, and he doesn't use running as meditation, but he uses them as complementary practices. And so he explains how his experience with meditation helped him be a better runner and vice versa. He talks about your mind kind of being this horse that you have to tame, and meditation is how you tame it. And so I fancied myself, because I do work out and I do yoga and I have a hard time sitting still, and in readings that I've done for myself, it has come up over and over again that I really need to meditate. And I've been avoiding it like the plague. I've been avoiding it like COVID, okay? I just really need to do it, because something he said in this book stuck with me and convinced me that going walking or yoga is not enough of a meditation. I fancy myself doing movement meditation, and he said that is useful and it has a mental benefit, but that running, he says, or exercise isn't taming the horse, it's just exhausting the horse. And so when you rest your body, then, you know, the hamster gets right back on the wheel. And that is definitely my experience. So I am little by little really making a conscious effort to sit still when I meditate. Oh gosh, it's painful, but it will become less and less difficult, hopefully. And of course, my son and I we are reading the Harry Potter series, and we are almost done with Harry Potter 2. So that's exciting. I'm so relieved that he's into Harry Potter, because it gives us a lot to talk about. He likes Hagrid. Hagrid is his favorite character. He thinks Hagrid's pretty funny. As far as yoga, I had been working on Baby Crow, which went really well, and I moved into crow pose, which I can hold for a couple of seconds now. It has definitely become easier, but now I'm going to, I think my goal this time is to move into side crow and then into fallen angel. I'm going to try that. It's one of those things that I think is probably easier than it looks. Maybe. For about 5 minutes, I wanted to work my way into the splits, and then I thought, you know, I've never been able to do the splits. And it was kind of boring to practice the splits and do all the, you have to do all these other things to, you know, just even warm up to practice the splits. And I thought, why? Is it a party trick? I don't know. No good can come from that. So now, if you are like me, you are searching for things to watch on Netflix at this point, because you've watched, it seems like, almost everything. So I'm going to let you know what I've seen. And if you have any good ones that I've missed, any good shows, let me know in the comments. In the first quarter video, I told you that I started watching Outlander, and I gushed about Outlander. And I did finish season 2, but I don't think I started season 3 yet, because I know what's coming up in the plot. Colonial America is coming up in the plot, and I'm just not so interested. So my interest in Outlander trailed off a little bit. Maybe I'll finish it, but not sure. Michael and I did watch the second season of Dead to Me. That's with Christina Applegate. We really like that show. It's suspenseful and it's funny, and in every episode there's something shocking that happens. So that's a good one. I think that's on Netflix. We watched Jeffrey Epstein Filthy Rich, which I think is on Prime or HBO. I'm not sure which one, which, you know, went into detail about that whole shitstorm, and it was really incredible. So yeah, incredible and disturbing. We watched Hollywood on Netflix, which I thought was trash. I hated that series. It started strong, but it was kind of like when you read a middle schooler's attempt at writing fiction. It starts out strong a lot of the time and then kind of devolves into a video game. That's what this reminded me of. It started out strong, and then by the end you were expecting one of the characters to wake up from a really stupid dream. The message was that anyone who made it in Hollywood made it because they slept with someone who had influence, and there was a message of if you were Black or you're a woman or you're gay in Hollywood and you found that held you back, that it was because you just didn't stand up for yourself enough. So it was kind of cringy. I don't know what else to say about it. I just thought that it was not what it could have been. The last couple of episodes were just ridiculous. Another show that I saw on Netflix, which I would highly recommend, is Why Women Kill. Now, I avoided this one. It kept popping up, and I thought it was going to be one of those cheesy ID channel reenactment ones like Wives with Knives or something like that, but it wasn't. It was a limited series, and it was very well done, and it is about these three different couples who, they all live in the same mansion, but one couple was in the 50s, one was in the 80s, and one is present day. And at the end, they weave it together in a very unique and interesting way. So I would highly recommend that one. The stories were really good. I watched season 4 of Insecure. I think this is on HBO, and I really like this show. It's very well written. It's funny. It's there's drama. There's, you know, like love interests. But in this season, Issa and her best friend have drifted apart, and they can't really put their finger on why. They're just both in places where they're changing as people, and I could really identify with the story. I really like that series. If you haven't ever seen Insecure, you should check it out. And then the last thing I watched was the series Hannibal, which is at once the most gory yet most beautifully shot show I've ever seen. It's poetic almost. A lot of people online said they just couldn't believe that it was canceled. I could believe it was canceled because the dramatic irony of knowing that it's Hannibal and them not knowing that it's Hannibal will only take you so far before that gets really old. But Mads Mikkelsen, who is the actor who plays Hannibal, yeah, he was a very charming Hannibal. Anyway, okay. So it made you want to, like, would it be so bad to have dinner with Hannibal Lecter? Not if it was Mads Mikkelsen. It would not. So check out Hannibal. Okay. Here are my 3 cards. For April, I picked the 4 of Wands. And when I picked this card, I just kept writing down community and foundation. And I do think there was a foundation set for some sort of shift in my life. Now, I was online teaching at this point and in the thick of that, and I was on Zoom and on Skype and on Google Meet, and you guys know the drill. It was perhaps too much community to really suit me. It was exhausting for me. But in May, the card that came up was the Seven of Pentacles. And so I kept wondering what this was under here, what seeds had been planted, because it didn't really feel like there was much happening or much going on. But I felt like, you know, it's kind of a hanged man kind of time where something's happening and I just need to be patient for a while. And then in June, my card was the World. And so I could see the culmination of something. There were a lot of old patterns that I felt like I really, not overcame exactly, but kind of got a handle on or outgrew somehow. And it was almost a been there, done that kind of feeling, like I'm ready to move on. And the card that I picked for this month, for July, was more about being inspired. And so I'm hoping things are shifting a little more into a more active phase. I'm hoping to get inspired about several things. So that was my quarter. And I think it's okay considering, you know, I couldn't go anywhere or do anything. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing all the videos that are getting posted out there. I'm so behind. Okay. Thanks guys.